been scrolling online, maybe you're watching TV, and suddenly it feels like everyone is talking about the same thing? Maybe it's some new challenge that's all over TikTok, or a really strong message about, I don't know, why you should always wear your helmet when you bike.
Right. It pops up everywhere.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like these ideas they just stick in your head, or everyone around you seems totally convinced, like, okay, I need to do this now. It makes you wonder, right? How does that actually happen?
It does.
What's the magic behind those messages?
Yeah.
The ones that really make us act.
It's a really fascinating observation, and it taps into some incredibly clever, sometimes really subtle strategies. You're definitely noticing the deliberate art of influence, even if you don't always realize you're seeing it.
Absolutely. Well, Inquisitive Explorers, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're kind of going on a quest. We're going to uncover the surprising origins and, yeah, the clever, sometimes hidden tricks behind two really powerful ideas that shape our lives. First up, social marketing. And then the ever-evolving concept of self-care.
Okay. So our mission for this deep dive, really, is to unpack the strategies behind how different organizations think, government agencies, nonprofits, sometimes even companies, how they try to influence our actions. Often the goal is framed as, the greater good, and they use these pretty sophisticated marketing techniques that go way beyond just trying to sell you something.
And then, yeah, we're going to journey through the really fascinating story of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have an image in your head already, right? Maybe a relaxing bath or a quiet evening with a book, maybe a new meditation app.
The usual suspects.
Totally. But we're going to peel back those layers and explore its surprisingly radical roots, like tracing it all the way back to major civil rights movements.
Which is not what most people think of.
Not at all. And then we'll see how that profound idea transformed, and sometimes, let's be honest, got kind of commodified into the popular and, yeah, sometimes pretty pricey trend it is today.
Right. So by the end of this, hopefully you'll be much better equipped to understand the underlying mechanics, why these powerful messages work, or maybe just as importantly, why sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And more importantly, you'll get a clear perspective on what it all really means for you as you navigate this world just brimming with messages and choices. It's about empowering you to be a more discerning and thoughtful participant.
Get ready to be a truly inquisitive explorer.
Let's do it.
All right, let's unpack this first one. Our first big question is pretty fundamental. What in the world is social marketing? You see ads all the time for the latest sneakers or a new video game, the hottest snack, whatever.
Standard stuff. Commercial marketing.
Exactly. That's traditional commercial marketing. Its main goal is simple: get you to buy something. End of story. But social marketing, that's like a whole different animal. Very different objective.
Precisely. The core purpose, the heart of social marketing, isn't about getting you to open your wallet for a new product, like those cool shoes or the next big game. No. Instead, its aim is much deeper. It wants to get people to change their behaviors or their attitudes.
Okay.
And the key difference, the real kicker, is that these changes are supposedly for the good of everyone, for the public good, as experts call it. It's about collective well-being, not just individual profit.
So instead of trying to get you to spend your money on a new gadget, social marketing might be trying to convince you to, say, buckle up every single time, or maybe quit smoking, or remember to actually recycle your plastic bottles and cardboard, those kinds of things.
These campaigns aren't selling a product. They're promoting choices that are, demonstrably better for your health, your safety, and ultimately for the whole community. It's not about generating revenue for some company. It's about fostering, hopefully lasting, positive impacts across society. That's a really crucial distinction. It underpins the whole philosophy. The big goal, ultimately, is to empower individuals, to empower you, to make a lasting, positive impact for society's greater good. It's about convincing people that a new behavior, maybe one that's healthier or safer or more eco-conscious, is actually more valuable, more beneficial than their current habits.
Right. Not just for them, but for everyone.
Exactly. It's about shifting sometimes deeply ingrained mindsets and behaviors, not just, moving products off a shelf.
Okay, so here's a quick thought experiment for you listening. Have you ever seen a public service announcement, a PSA?
Yeah.
On TV or online? Those short, usually pretty impactful messages that pop up between shows or before a video.
Yeah, we've all seen them.
What was it trying to get people to do? And how is that different from a normal commercial for, a soda or a new phone? Think about that fundamental difference in what they're trying to achieve.
One wants your money.
and the other wants you to make a different choice, often for a healthier life or a safer community. It's a great way to start spotting social marketing right there in your daily life.
Building on that, yeah. To make these big behavioral changes happen, social marketing pros, they don't just, wing it.
No guessing games.
Not really. They use a very clever, meticulously developed playbook of strategies. We've
Right.
actually identified 8 key approaches that are pretty common.
8. Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to explore each one. They're all designed to make people think differently and act in new ways, sometimes without them even consciously realizing they're being influenced.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, where you start to see the psychology behind the messages, right? Let's dive into strategy number 1, showing what happens if you don't change. We're calling this one consequences.
Right.
This is where campaigns really highlight the negative stuff that can happen if people keep doing risky or unhealthy things.
Yes, and this approach, it's particularly effective for actions that have really clear, maybe immediate or potentially severe outcomes if you ignore them. Think about messages around getting a critical health checkup, like a cancer screening,
Okay.
or getting a vaccine. The consequences of not doing it can be quite serious, life-threatening even. It's also been used pretty successfully in campaigns to encourage abstinence among teenagers, clearly showing potential long-term personal, social effects of risky choices.
But there's a catch here, isn't there?
Yeah.
And this feels super important for it to actually work. You can't scare people too much, right?
Yeah.
Or exaggerate the facts beyond what seems real.
Absolutely crucial, yeah. If the message feels fake or way too dramatic or just unrealistic, people instinctively they tune it out.
They dismiss it like, oh, that's just fear-mongering.
Exactly. The facts need to be straight, they need to be real, presented with a level of intensity that matches the actual risk, but doesn't totally overwhelm or paralyze the audience. Otherwise, it just becomes noise.
And the message gets lost.
Right. Psychologically, studies show that a moderate level of fear, importantly, coupled with clear, actionable steps on how to avoid the negative consequence. That's what's most effective. It's not just about showing the scary problem, but also giving people a way out, empowering them with a solution.
That makes sense. Which kind of leads right into strategy number 2, which I guess often works with the first one. Showing how your actions affect others. You call this, it's not just about you.
That's right. This strategy really taps into people's emotions because, an individual might just shrug off consequences for themselves. Ah, it won't happen to me.
Yeah, totally.
But they often have a much harder time ignoring the impact on their loved ones. Sometimes people already know a behavior is bad for them. They've heard the warnings a million times, but they haven't stopped to really consider or visualize how it profoundly impacts their family, their friends, maybe even their wider community.
And that is so powerful, isn't it? It hits that deeper chord of empathy, of responsibility. Campaigns showing how smoking or even something like compulsive gambling affects family members. Those are incredibly impactful.
Definitely.
Like, I remember seeing those TV spots, maybe like The Confession for Gambling Responsibly, where the person's regret isn't just about their own losses, but the pain they caused their loved ones.
Very powerful.
Or that it's like their smoking campaign for quit lines, showing kids exposed to secondhand smoke. It's not just stats. It creates this whole narrative that forces you to rethink things for the sake of others.
Exactly. It's tapping into people's innate feelings for others, and that's a deep, powerful well of motivation. It can truly drive behavior change when personal risk alone doesn't cut it.
Okay, strategy number 3. This one feels familiar. Getting famous people involved, celebrities.
Ah, yes, the celebrity endorsement. A well-known face with their huge reach and public image can absolutely be the breakthrough voice. It brings attention, sure, but it also lends a kind of legitimacy, maybe an aspirational quality.
And it works for regular products, right? I remember reading one study found signing a big name can boost a company's sales by millions.
It demonstrates the raw power, yeah, huge impact.
But it's not just about being famous, is it? There's a tricky part here. The celebrity has to actually seem like they care about the cause or be authentically connected to it somehow.
Crucial nuance, yes. They shouldn't just be acting like they care.
You can kind of tell, can't you, when someone's just reading lines versus when they genuinely believe it and it fits their image?
You often can. And if there's a disconnect, the message falls flat. Or worse, it backfires. People feel manipulated.
Right.
According to something called the source credibility model, a message's effectiveness really hinges on the endorser's perceived trustworthiness and credibility. Basically, the message is more persuasive if the source, the celebrity, is seen as both knowledgeable about the topic and someone you can trust, someone honest, believable.
So who are good examples?
Well, campaigns have used actress Meryl Streep, known for her integrity, right? Or even Michigan State's basketball coach Tom Izzo, who has this strong reputation for discipline and health. They were used to encourage people towards better health habits.
Okay.
Their genuine reputations, not just their fame, added real weight. Conversely, imagine a celebrity known for, say, partying, promoting a fitness product.
Yeah, credibility totally shot. Doesn't work.
Exactly, it undermines the whole thing.
Okay, moving to strategy 4. Empowering people to take personal responsibility. This is the you can do it approach. Instead of always saying what you shouldn't do, which can feel negative, like don't run. This strategy frames it positively. Focuses on what you can do, like walk nicely.
It's a subtle but, yeah, incredibly powerful psychological shift.
Yeah.
From prohibition to empowerment.
And the research backs this up.
Consistently, people are significantly more likely to respond well to positively framed messages, especially for health behaviors. Plus, it's often way more successful to challenge people with one simple, achievable change. Like, lose 10% of your body weight, rather than overwhelming them with a massive list of complicated things that just feel impossible.
Yeah, that just makes you want to give up before you start.
Right. This approach focuses on building what psychologists call self-efficacy, basically, believing in your own ability to succeed. It empowers confidence, makes the goal feel actually doable.
Is there a good example of this?
Yeah, there was a great case study from a campaign in Michigan. Instead of just vaguely saying, eat healthy and exercise,
Which is super daunting.
totally, they brilliantly challenged people to pledge to lose 10% of their body weight. But they didn't just leave them hanging. Participants got this whole starter kit.
Oh, cool. What was in it?
Practical tips, coupons, even some free gifts, and crucially, access to a special Facebook page for peer support, plus ongoing educational texts and emails.
So loads of support.
Exactly. This whole system helped them feel empowered, supported, and confident, which is absolutely key for making changes that actually stick.
That makes total sense. Okay, strategy 5. Getting others to help. You call them interveners.
Yes, interveners. Sometimes the best way to motivate your target audience isn't by talking directly to them at all.
Huh, how does that work?
Instead, you appeal to someone who has significant influence over them, a trusted third party, an intervener. They often act as, like, gatekeepers or key decision makers within a family or community.
Okay, give me an example. Who are these interveners?
Well, consider this stat. Women, for instance, make or significantly influence something like 85% of all purchasing decisions in households.
85%, wow.
And 80% of healthcare decisions for their families. So if you want to influence the whole family's health or spending, strategically talking to the women in the household, super effective.
Makes sense. What about another scenario?
Okay, think about helping teens become safer drivers. Super critical, right? Car crashes are tragically the #1 cause of death for teenagers.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So instead of just lecturing the teens directly, which, let's face it, often leads to eye rolls.
Guilty as charged, probably, back in the day.
Huh. Right. Campaigns cleverly appeal to their parents. Brogan and Partners did this parent-teen driving agreement campaign. It encouraged parents to sit down with their teens, set clear limits together, use a step-by-step process for driving privileges.
So it's empowering the parents.
Exactly. Empowering the natural interveners, the parents, to guide them safely. It's not just telling teens what to do, it's giving parents the tools. You might see images like, help your teen navigate real-world driving, or connect the dots before your teen drives. The message is aimed squarely at the parents. It's a really powerful, indirect approach.
Very clever. Okay, strategy 6. This one seems almost universally effective, tapping into something deep. Using kids to get attention. The kids strategy.
Absolutely. If you want to grab attention, hold it and make a lasting impression. Put kids in your campaign. Children just have this unique charm. They're funny, relatable, and they forge this incredibly powerful emotional connection that can genuinely motivate adults to change their behavior.
They're total heartstring tuggers, aren't they? When a kid delivers a message about anything, brushing teeth, recycling, even serious health stuff, it hits differently for parents, grandparents, even teens who remember being kids. It makes you think about the kids in your own life. Activates that protective instinct.
Wow.
And here's a cool trick you mentioned. Putting kids in funny adult situations. Or just maximizing their natural cuteness. That makes the message stick, right?
It adds that stickiness, exactly. Makes a serious point memorable because it's delivered in this unexpected, endearing way.
Is there a campaign that did this well?
A fantastic example was from the National Education Defense Project. They were tackling a serious issue: U.S. students' math and science skills falling behind internationally. Big implications.
Right, so what do they do?
They created this charming, super memorable TV commercial called STEM TV Interview. It featured really young kids, maybe 5 or 6, dressed in little business suits, interviewing for jobs,
Oh my gosh, cute.
and adorably bragging about their qualifications, like counting to 10 or knowing the alphabet. It was funny, unforgettable, and made a very serious point about early STEM education in this lighthearted, yet really impactful way. It stuck with people.
I can totally picture that. Okay, strategy 7. This one sounds intriguing. Doing unexpected marketing or guerrilla tactics. Thinking way outside the box.
Way outside. Think about your daily life. You're bombarded, experts estimate, with anywhere from 250 to maybe over 3,000 ads or brand messages every single day.
That many, seriously.
It's overwhelming. So how do you possibly break through all that noise and make your message stand out?
Yeah, how? Most ads just become background noise.
That's precisely where guerrilla marketing comes in. It uses creative, unusual, non-traditional ways to deliver a message and make it genuinely memorable, often by surprising the audience in a totally unexpected place or way.
So not just flyers or TV ads.
Definitely not. Think messages appearing on urinal mats in restrooms. Yep. Or restroom mirror clings, sidewalk chalk art, even bar coasters.
Yeah.
The goal is to be unconventional, catch people completely off guard, and because of that surprise, hopefully get maximum impact and make sure the message is not just seen, but actually remembered.
That's brilliant. Like sneak attack marketing. You mentioned an example with HIV treatment resources.
Yes, a campaign marketing free HIV treatment used highly targeted in-venue guerrilla tactics, specifically in gay bars. They put powerful messages like the phrase, "I will survive," directly onto bar coasters and napkins.
Wow.
So everyday objects became direct lines of communication. The message wasn't just seen, it was literally in people's hands, delivering this vital, life-affirming message at a time and place it could really resonate. Unexpected, direct, definitely memorable.
Definitely. Okay, interactive question time for you listening. If you were launching a campaign to get more kids reading, where's the most unexpected, maybe quirky, surprising place you'd put a message to grab their attention? Think outside the library or classroom.
Good challenge. Let your imagination run wild.
All right, and finally, strategy number 8. This one's huge today. Talking on social media. Let's chat.
Absolutely. Social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, they aren't just massive for broadcasting messages out. Crucially, they're massive for getting people to talk about those messages, to engage in this dynamic, ongoing conversation.
Exactly. That's the game changer, isn't it? Unlike traditional one-way ads, social media lets people engage. They can share it instantly, comment, ask questions, connect with others who care about the same thing.
It builds community.
Yeah, it builds this powerful sense of community and shared purpose. For instance, you mentioned a campaign about scleroderma, a rare disease most people don't know about.
Right. They used Facebook and Twitter really effectively, not just to push out information, but to spark conversations. Patients, families could share experiences, increase public understanding. It became a dialogue.
We saw that with the Am I Healthier Tomorrow campaign too, right?
Yeah.
Using texts with Pandora playlists for workouts. Or Facebook posts about packing healthy lunches.
Exactly. It shows how social media can spark active engagement, amplify a message organically. People share it, it reaches thousands quickly, makes people feel they aren't alone in making a change. Power of connection and sharing.
So, wrapping up this section then, social marketing isn't just about making a few ads. It's way more complex.
It's a sophisticated, multifaceted discipline, using smart, creative, often psychologically sharp ways to influence behavior, hopefully for the positive, for individuals and society. A strategic process focused on real, measurable impact, not just, short-term sales figures.
Okay, now let's pivot. Let's talk about something that might genuinely surprise you, something that's had a truly fascinating, unexpected journey. The whole idea of self-care.
Ah, yes, self-care.
You probably, like most people, think of it as, taking a luxurious bubble bath, maybe using a calming meditation app, perhaps splurging on a spa day.
That's the modern image for sure.
But the original idea of self-care was actually, a radical act of survival, born out of real necessity and collective struggle.
It's absolutely true. And knowing this history, it completely reframes how we understand it today. The concept didn't start in the beauty aisle or at a wellness retreat. Back in the really turbulent 1960s and 70s, it was a deeply serious, profoundly powerful idea. especially for marginalized groups fighting for their basic civil rights, their human dignity, like those in the civil rights movement.
And when you say survival, you mean that literally, don't you?
In a very literal, very visceral sense.
Yes.
For these communities, self-care was about surviving within and actively standing up to unfair, often violent systems. Systems that systematically ignored, neglected, or actively harmed their health, their well-being.
Wow. Just think about that.
Mm.
It wasn't about treating yourself after a tough day. It was about fighting for your fundamental right to just be well, physically and mentally, in a society that was often designed to break you down.
A really potent, concrete example of this is the Black Panther Party. They faced systemic racism, total neglect within mainstream healthcare. So what do? They didn't just protest, they actively opened their own free health clinics,
Mhm.
started community food programs.
They built their own systems.
Exactly. It was a direct response to the reality that regular hospitals often treated Black people unfairly, denied them proper care, or were just inaccessible. So for them, taking care of their own health and, crucially, their community's health, that was a direct, powerful way of fighting back, asserting autonomy, asserting survival. When society was completely failing them, it was fundamentally a political act.
That is a completely different picture than what usually comes to mind when we hear self-care today, isn't it?
Yeah.
This original idea was truly about communities organizing, helping each other survive, thrive, fighting for justice against oppressive systems.
It was collective.
A shared effort, sometimes called collective care, right? Where individual well-being was totally linked to the group's well-being. So, knowing this history, this profound, kind of surprising background, how does that change your idea of what self-care truly means?
It definitely shifts my perspective from something individual, maybe indulgent, to something inherently communal and, well, empowering.
It's a vital historical context,
Right.
and it leads us right into a common, persistent misunderstanding, the selfishness paradox.
Yeah.
Many people, maybe influenced by all the modern commercialization, they fundamentally misunderstand self-care. They think it's just inherently selfish.
I hear that constantly, like, oh, I can't possibly take time for myself. That's just selfish when there's so much else to do for others. But let's pause. Let's define what selfishness actually is.
Good idea.
Selfishness is driven purely by self-interest, right? But crucially, it's often at the expense of others' well-being. Prioritizing your own gain, your comfort, your gratification, with little or no regard for how your actions negatively affect other people. Often involves a lack of empathy, yeah. Focus on short-term gratification, disregarding collective consequences.
Right. Now contrast that with true self-care.
Okay. Self-care involves intentional actions to proactively nurture your physical, mental, or emotional health. It's about maintaining balance, building resilience, recharging your inner resources. The ultimate goal isn't self-indulgence at others' expense.
That's the opposite almost.
It's about ensuring you can show up as your best, most capable, most present self for your family, your community, your work. It's about self-preservation, sustainability. Fundamentally not about harming or neglecting others. In fact, by taking care of yourself, you're actually better equipped to care for others effectively.
So the conclusion here seems pretty clear. Self-care is not inherently selfish. It's fundamentally a form of self-respect, a necessary practice for maintaining your well-being. And it's the foundation that allows you to support others without completely burning out or depleting yourself. You know the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. Self-care is about keeping your cup full, maybe even overflowing, so you can share without diminishing yourself.
Okay, so beyond that paradox, it's also really important to think about how self-care is seen around the world, right? These cultural twists that influence how it's practiced, how it's accepted.
Hugely important, yeah. In Western, more individualistic cultures like the US or Canada, self-care is often encouraged, even celebrated as an act of personal empowerment, autonomy.
Like taking a mental health day or setting personal boundaries. People see that as healthy.
Widely accepted, seen as signs of good self-management, but that's definitely not the case everywhere.
Where is it different?
In many collectivist cultures, think parts of Asia, Africa, Latin America, where the group's needs, group harmony, are deeply prioritized over individual desires. Actions focused solely on oneself can be viewed very differently.
How so?
They could easily be seen as selfish, as neglecting community obligations, maybe even as a sign of weakness. This can lead to significant feelings of guilt or criticism from others if you try to practice self-care in a way that seems too isolating or individualistic. It's a very different social fabric, where personal well-being is often seen as intertwined with, and frankly secondary to, the well-being of the family or the community.
So how do people navigate that if they feel guilty taking time for themselves?
Well, one powerful way is to reframe it. Reframe self-care as preventative.
Preventative. How?
Instead of saying, I need a break just for me, you might explain it as resting now means I can be more present, more energetic, ultimately more helpful to our family, to our community tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So you connect it back to the group.
Exactly. This reframing aligns self-care with cherished community goals like long-term sustainability, collective harmony, being able to contribute reliably. It makes it much more culturally acceptable, even commendable. It transforms a potentially perceived selfish act into a responsible investment in the collective good.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've traced self-care from its radical roots, this collective act of survival. But now let's really dig into the challenges, the complexities of modern commercialized self-care.
Yeah.
Because that original profound idea, it's undergone a massive transformation. It's been, well, largely repackaged and sold back to us.
Indeed. What was once a grassroots movement born from struggle has kind of blossomed, or maybe mutated is a better word, into this multi-trillion-dollar global wellness industry.
Tillian, with a T.
Multi-trillion, yeah.
Yeah.
This huge market covers everything from high-end beauty products, exclusive fitness regimes, sophisticated health gadgets, even digital therapy apps. And companies are incredibly good at using these catchy emotional slogans. You deserve it. Treat yourself. Invest in yourself.
We hear those all the time.
Right, to make people feel they must buy these products or services to truly take care of themselves. That's the core of the commodification, turning a fundamental human need into something you purchase.
And this is where critics raise a really important point, especially when you know the history. They argue that while these personal products, these experiences, might make you feel better temporarily, a moment of relaxation, sure, a fleeting bit of calm,
Uh-huh. The quick fix.
they fundamentally don't fix the big underlying societal problems that cause so much stress, anxiety, mental health issues in the first place. We're talking systemic things,
Well,
unfair health care, unstable jobs, inadequate social safety nets, pervasive discrimination.
the root causes.
Exactly. It's like putting this tiny, beautifully packaged Band-Aid on a gaping wound that society itself should be addressing with real comprehensive solutions. The pandemic really threw this into sharp relief, didn't it? As support systems crumbled, individuals were pushed more and more to self-care their way through collective trauma, often by buying stuff, instead of getting robust systemic support.
A very valid critique. Furthermore, because modern commercialized self-care so often involves buying things, special yoga mats, expensive supplements, luxury bath bombs, it quickly becomes too expensive, too exclusive for many people. This financial barrier, whether it's intentional or not, ends up leaving out the very communities that self-care was originally meant to uplift. Those who are marginalized, economically disadvantaged, facing the greatest systemic stressors. It creates this really ironic exclusivity that's the total opposite of its radical inclusive roots.
And then there's the guilt and shame factor, especially with social media. When influencers show off their perfect, often super curated and costly self-care routines,
The Instagram version.
totally, with expensive products, exclusive retreats, subscription apps, it can make regular people feel incredibly inadequate, or bad, or guilty if they're still stressed, or struggling, or just can't afford that stuff.
It creates this subtle, harmful message, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That if you're overwhelmed or exhausted, it's somehow your fault. You just didn't buy enough self-care.
Or you didn't do the rituals right. It feels like this endless cycle, too.
Mhm.
Buy a product to relieve stress. Stress comes back because the root problems aren't fixed. Get told you need to buy another product, maybe a better, more expensive one.
The consumption treadmill. A stark, sometimes humorous example of this whole commercialization thing is Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop brand.
Oh, yeah. Hoop.
Selling incredibly expensive lifestyle products, jade eggs, obscure detox kits, all under this banner of wellness. It really exemplifies how self-care can be repackaged into luxury consumerism. Focuses on scarcity, exclusivity, rather than genuine well-being for everyone.
But it's not all like that, right? There are people trying to do it differently.
Absolutely. It's important to see how individuals and businesses navigate this more authentically. Take the Harper family, for example. They started Harp Vision during the pandemic, selling natural soaps, body scrubs, candles. Crucially, they actively promote the message that self-care is not selfish.
How so?
Well, their business is rooted in genuine personal experience. The co-founder has chronic pain, found relief in natural products, and they try to align it with a more community-minded approach. It shows how personal wellness can still be pursued with integrity, with shared empathy, even within this commercialized landscape.
That's a hopeful counterpoint. Fascinating how that pendulum has swung, though, from collective survival to sometimes an exclusive shopping spree.
Oh.
But speaking of wellness in action, let's switch gears slightly. Let's talk about employee wellness programs. How do companies even know if they work, and what's coming next?
Right. Employee wellness programs today, the good ones anyway, have evolved way beyond just, offering gym discounts or flu shots.
Yeah, they seem much broader now.
They're designed to improve employee health holistically, not just physical, but mental, emotional, even cognitive well-being. This means robust support for stress management, sleep hygiene, comprehensive mental health support, often extending to employees' families too. It's a truly integrated approach.
So how do companies figure out if these big programs are actually working? You mentioned ROI and VOI.
Exactly. Two key ways they measure success. ROI is return on investment. That's the straightforward stuff. Quantifiable cost reductions. Like, a company might track that for every dollar they invest in their wellness program, they save, say, $6 in reduced medical claims or fewer sick days, less absenteeism. It's about seeing direct, hard financial returns, numbers on a spreadsheet.
Okay, simple enough. But what's VOI?
VOI is value on investment. This takes a much broader, more multidimensional view. It goes beyond just the immediate financial metrics.
So what kind of value are we talking about?
It looks at qualitative benefits, things that are harder to put a precise number on, but are immensely valuable long term. Think improved employee morale, increased engagement, higher productivity, better job satisfaction, lower stress levels.
Things that make work better, basically.
Exactly. And VOI also considers those subtle long-term benefits, like preventing future chronic diseases, fostering a more positive company culture, helping employees navigate stressful times with more resilience. These don't always show up instantly on a quarterly report, but they're hugely valuable over time.
Okay, but how do you measure that? If it's not just dollars and cents, it sounds really tricky.
It is complex, but they use a variety of sophisticated methods. Regular anonymous employee surveys are key gauging sentiment, well-being. They meticulously track task completion rates, project efficiency. They closely monitor churn and retention rates, how many people leave versus stay.
Analyzing feedback, too.
Deeply analyzing qualitative feedback, yeah. From customer support reviews, from formal stay or exit interviews, even sifting through anonymized employee social media posts sometimes. They even look for that costly thing called presenteeism.
Presenteeism. What's that?
That's what employees are physically at work, but because of illness, stress, distraction, whatever, they're mentally checked out, disconnected, leads to huge drops in productivity, sometimes even more costly than someone just staying home sick.
Wow. Never thought of that.
And here's where it gets really high-tech. Advanced AI-powered programs are now being used. They can process massive amounts of all this diverse info numbers, words, feedback, and transform it into rated VOI and ROI metrics, giving companies incredibly detailed insights into what's actually driving progress or hindering it in employee wellness.
AI measuring employee wellness. Okay.
Yeah.
Got any real-world examples of this working?
Yeah, some great success stories. TechCo, a growing tech firm, adopted a truly holistic strategy. Not just exercise, but mindfulness practices, access to professional counseling, meditation apps for everyone.
And the results.
Impressive. A substantial 15% reduction in absenteeism, noticeable improvement in retention. Employees consistently said they felt more valued, less stressed. Real impact.
Nice. Anyone else?
PharmaCore, a big pharmaceutical company. They wanted a whole culture of health, so they ran a company-wide health challenge competitions, rewards, tracking software.
Did it work?
Participants saw measurable health improvements, BMI, cholesterol, energy levels. But beyond that, it fostered this renewed camaraderie, stronger team spirit. Wellness became a team-building tool, too.
Cool. One more. Maybe a smaller company?
Sure, FinServ, a financial services company, tighter budget. They realized financial stress was a huge issue for their people, so they prioritized financial wellness, offered budgeting workshops, retirement planning sessions, one-on-one consultations.
Targeted approach.
Very. And it led to considerably reduced financial anxiety reported by employees, better job satisfaction, even increased productivity. Proved their hunch that economic stress was directly hitting their workforce's well-being and performance. So these different cases show how customized programs, big or small, targeted or broad, can yield real benefits.
That's really encouraging. Okay, so looking ahead then, what does wellness marketing look like in 2025 and beyond? You said it's huge.
Then enormous doesn't even cover it. The global health and wellness market, projected to hit nearly $9 trillion by 2028.
$9 trillion, that's staggering.
It is. The U.S. market alone is already around $480 billion, growing 5–10% every year. It's not just a niche thing, it's a massive, expanding economic force.
And who's driving this growth?
A big part is a generational shift. Younger generations, millennials, Gen Z, they're spending a significantly larger chunk of their money on health and wellness compared to older consumers.
So brands have to adapt.
Absolutely. They must develop generational specific campaigns, products that genuinely resonate with these evolving priorities, values, their digital first habits. It's not one size fits all anymore.
And it's not just about selling a product, is it? You said it's more like selling an experience, a lifestyle.
Exactly. It's about aligning with consumers' deeper values, their aspirations, often their desire for self-improvement, purpose. And brands are focusing on four key pillars to connect on that level.
Okay, pillar number one.
Authenticity and transparency. Absolutely vital. Consumers today are super savvy. Research shows 86% believe authenticity is crucial when choosing a brand.
86%.
Yeah. Brands need real stories, genuine customer reviews, credible testimonials. They have to avoid greenwashing,
Hmm.
pretending to be eco-friendly or ethical without actually being so. That destroys trust fast.
Okay, pillar two.
Holistic marketing. Recognizing wellness isn't just physical. It's physical, mental, emotional, maybe even spiritual. If a product helps on multiple levels, like a yoga app improving flexibility, and calm brands need to emphasize those broader interconnected benefits, treat the whole person.
Makes sense. Pillar three.
Personalization. Huge demand for products and services tailored to individual health journeys, unique needs. Not just customization, but really recognizing individual differences. Nearly 1 in 5 U.S. consumers, and even higher for millennials, 1 in 3, strongly prefer personalized wellness. Custom nutrition plans, bespoke meditation, that sort of thing.
And the fourth pillar.
Community building,
Hmm.
especially in the digital age, using social media, encouraging user-generated content, fostering active online groups. It helps people feel part of something bigger, a supportive community.
Makes them more likely to engage. Recommend the brand.
Significantly more likely, feeling connected and supported, not just consuming alone.
Got it. And you mentioned tech is a massive trend too.
Huge overarching trend for 2025. Tech-driven wellness. Technology integrating into daily wellness is just accelerating like crazy. Digital fitness tools, grown over 30% since 2021. The fitness app market alone, expected to hit $10 billion by 2029.
Wow. Wearables too, right?
Wearables are everywhere. Fitness trackers, smartwatches, sleep monitors, providing constant personalized health data. So marketers are either integrating tech directly virtual classes, AI coaching, or partnering with tech companies to enhance the whole experience, make it more accessible, trackable, engaging.
Okay, and how about this one you mentioned, mindful consumption and rituals? What's that about?
Fascinating trend. Consumers are intentionally adopting mindful rituals, actively redefining daily activities, even simple ones, into opportunities for relaxation, reflection, calm.
Like journaling.
Exactly. Gratitude journaling, stream of consciousness writing,
Oh.
getting really popular for mental clarity, emotional processing, and brands are adapting brilliantly. Nespresso, right. Famous for quick coffee. They launched a special pour-over carafe, specifically encouraging customers to slow down and savor the moment. Total shift from their usual speed message.
Interesting. Even food companies.
Even Mondelez, makers of Oreo, they plan to add mindfulness tips to all their packaging by 2025. Guiding people to minimize distractions, focus on the smell and taste, notice the textures while snapping.
Mindful Oreos. Okay.
Plus, you've got digital tools everywhere. The Calm app for meditation, sleep, the Apple Watch's Breathe reminder, making mindfulness super accessible right in your pocket, turning everyday actions into moments of conscious well-being.
It's everywhere. And the last trend you mentioned was YOLO?
Ah, yes, the you only live once attitude. Post-pandemic lockdowns, it influenced wellness in a couple of ways. Some luxury consumers went full YOLO, spending lavish wellness retreats, bespoke adventure travel, unique outdoor stuff like glamping.
Glamping. Glamorous camping.
Exactly. That market's projected to grow over 14% annually. Big interest in immersive outdoor experiences, blending adventure and comfort. At the same time, that YOLO mindset also pushed others to focus more intensely on living healthier, fuller lives now, driving demand for fitness, nutrition products, promising vitality, longevity.
So yeah, whether it's your smartwatch telling you to breathe or your cookie saying mindfully snack, wellness is absolutely everywhere,
Yeah.
infused into every corner of life. and always evolving. It's fascinating just how deeply ingrained these ideas have become.
It truly is. So we've covered a lot. We journeyed from understanding how powerful social marketing strategically shapes our world, influencing public behavior for, hopefully, the collective good,
Okay.
to exploring the surprising complex history of self-care, how its profound original meaning has transformed for better or worse into this huge array of products and services packaged and sold today.
Okay, so here's a challenge for you. Our amazing inquisitive explorer listening right now. The next time you see an ad, maybe a PSA, or hear about a new trend, whether it's about a social cause like recycling or promoting the latest wellness gadget, don't just passively soak it in. Pause. Take a breath and actively ask yourself.
Ask what?
Ask, what is this message really trying to get me to do and why? Is its fundamental aim genuinely for the greater good of everyone? Or is it maybe subtly trying to sell me something, mostly just for myself? Perhaps even at the expense of a deeper, more collective well-being. And, maybe most importantly, how does it make me feel about myself and my place within a community?
Developing that critical thinking lens, that awareness, it's absolutely key to navigating this world just full of information and influence.
That's your deep dive into today's fascinating topic. If you want the full breakdown and all the context we couldn't fit here, head over to the full episode of The Deep Dive, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
And while you're there, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay curious.